This is the place where it all began, the birthplace of speed. If there is a taproot that reaches to the heart of NASCAR's 50th anniversary celebration, it is here. This place stands as a monument to the sport we celebrate and the man who created it. Welcome to Daytona International Speedway. Everyone wants so badly to win. An action-packed kickoff to the long and grueling championship fight, a source of so many great memories.
Donnie Allison throws the block. Cale hits him. He slides. Donnie Allison slides. They hit again. They drive into the turn. They're hitting the wall.
There are memories of winners and of those who have yet to win. These are the men who make their living at 200 miles an hour. Brave men, heirs to brave predecessors. Always a family affair, today's stars that help make this the hottest sport in America. They're fond of saying today is their Super Bowl. It's time for the Daytona 500, the great American race. Welcome to NASCAR Today. As its 50th birthday party begins, the NASCAR world and everything in it has been polished to a high-gloss shine. Welcome to the 40th running of the season-opening Daytona 500. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain with Benny Parsons, our ESPN stock car analyst. We're live at Daytona for the kickoff of a very big season, a very big celebration, and a very important 500 miles.
And this race is not easy to win. In today's Benny's book, we'll take a look at what it takes to win the Daytona 500.
What do you say we hear from the guys out there on pit road in the middle of all the hubbub? I'm talking about Bill Weber and Ray Dunlap.
Restrictor plate racing here at Daytona. It looks so easy. It looks so smooth. But on in-car cameras today, watch how violently these cars and drivers are bounced about. Handling is a big key. And at a place where the chase approaches 200 miles an hour, this race could be decided on a tiny two-lane road where the speed limit is 65.
Today, the Ford Motor Company debuts its brand new car, the Taurus. We've heard all the preseason lobbying. Throw that out the window. We've seen them running the twin 125s. Throw that out the window. Because today, folks, we'll find out how this brand new car is going to race.
First NASCAR today of the new season. I love all that is new this weekend. There is, of course, the smell of a new car, the atmosphere of opening day, the excitement of New Year's Eve. It's all kind of bundled up into one. It is the kickoff of a brand new chase for the Winston Cup Championship. So, what's new for Daytona 98? Well, most notably the Ford Taurus, subject of endless debate and yet to run a point-paying race. Discussion stops, they say, when the green flag drops, but rest assured, it will resume the moment the race is over. Lobbying NASCAR for rule changes has become a major team preoccupation. The title hopes of some significant players hang in the balance. New combinations of paint and personnel are always a Daytona story. For TV and fans, the challenge is to sort out what all the new combinations look like. For the teams themselves, it's getting 500 miles under their belts and figuring out what they race like. Newcomers to Winston Cup always get special Daytona attention. Like the championship, the chase for Rookie of the Year starts here. Of special interest to me, Kenny Irwin, replacement for Ernie Irvan, because I'm a fan of both and I like a little rivalry in the sport. Jeff Gordon has added incentive to repeat today. A Winston Cup record $1 million to win is new, and some say overdue. And for 5 guys to have a shot at another $1 million, says we're moving closer to the financial big leagues. All the new seats here help pay that record prize money and reflect the sport's continuing growth. The new R.J. Reynolds guy reminds us of the losses we've suffered en route to our current success. Good luck, Cliff Pennell. Make T. Wayne proud. In the end, of course, the things that matter most today are not new at all. They've been here since the beginning, 50 years ago. What matters is the race itself, that age-old desire to compete and to win. What matters is the love these fans feel for their heroes who are about to put on the greatest show in motorsports. Here's something else that is not new. Driver interviews that say The guys have been working real hard. I'm tired of that. I hope we don't hear that in this half hour, but I'll bet we will. Talking to drivers is what we do. Let's hear from the driver who won this race last year and went on to win the championship, Jeff Gordon and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jeff Gordon's the defending race winner here at the Daytona 500. Jeff, we saw you on Thursday in the twin 125s go to pit road and then have quite a bit of trouble getting back up through the pack. Today you start 29th.
Well, I can tell you, I won't be coming unless the leaders are coming, and if I'm the leader, we better have gone a lot of laps before I'm going to come down pit road. We learned a lot there at the 125s. We made a mistake, and now we've got to pay for it, but we still got a great car and a great team, and we can come from 29th. We got our work cut out for us. We're going to have to be real patient, and you know, I'm relying on the pit crew and that great car to help get me to the front.
Well, guys, remember, just 14 points separated Jeff from Dale Jarrett at the end of last year. Today, we start with a clean slate.
I'd say they learned something on Thursday.
What they learned was that new tires normally pick a car, did not pick the car up. New tires were the same as old tires. They go back out there. They thought with new tires they'd get back to the field. They could not. They will only change tires today when they absolutely have to.
All right, let's take a look at the top 15 in the starting lineup. Gordon will not be there, of course. He is 29th, deepest in the field any winner has ever come from, 33rd. Got the Labonte brothers up front. 4 Chevys, 3 Pontiacs, 3 Fords in the top 10. Terry and Dale Earnhardt, 2nd and 4th. Most notable non-winners, Marlon and Jarrett have won twice each. Ernie Irvan makes it 3 past winners in the top 10 drivers. Well, coming up on NASCAR today, we'll have the tale of the Taurus. That's right, it's the car that everybody's talking about, the new Ford Winston Cup effort. And we'll be talking a little bit more about its impact on the hopes of the guys who drive them. We are NASCAR Today. We're glad you're here, and we'll be back right after this.
NASCAR Today is brought to you by Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction.
At Daytona USA on Friday night, the top 50 NASCAR drivers of all time were named, and Benny Parsons finished ahead of both Pearson and Petty.
We see, Dave, they introduced him alphabetically.
Oh. We'll never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Let's hear from the pole sitter for the 500. We go trackside.
Well, all 5 of the drivers who were eligible for the No Bull 5 are down here getting ready to be introduced, but the guy who has the best starting positions, Bobby Labonte, on the pole today. Great run for you.
Yeah, thank you. I tell you what, the Interstate Pontiac really did great on last Saturday qualifying, and it's been running pretty good in practice. We're looking forward to it, and got a little different weather today, a little different wind, but you know, I think it'll be all right. We've got a good starting spot, and it's going to be a long race. We just got to hang out.
I'm sure you guys are going to keep your eye on the sky all afternoon, too.
Yeah, we really are. I mean, it's threatening weather towards the end of the day. We don't know how quick it'll get here, but we'll just do the best we can. And, you know, like I said, it's a long race. We'll just try to hang out and see what happens.
Well, that's what he's best at, folks, doing the best he can. He'll start on the pole today for the Daytona 500.
Well, you heard about it on RPM today. There is rain south of the track. Nobody knows exactly how soon it will arrive. It definitely affects race strategy. How does one go about winning the Daytona 500? My suggestion, get a copy of Benny's book, open it up, and read quickly.
Daytona International Speedway, 2.5-mile racetrack, incredible speeds. You would think that handling would not be the key. But aerodynamics merged with handling is the key to winning the Daytona 500. Being able to run wide open all day, never lifting off the throttle, keeping the car on the bottom of the racetrack, all those things are very critical. The aerodynamics is part of that package. Also, springs, shocks, driver feel, how they communicate with their crew chief, that's also important. And pit stops. The crews will have to get those pit stops, change those 4 tires, 17, 18 seconds. They just can't have those 21, 22-second stops. If they do, it'll take the driver an entire stop, 100 miles, to get back to the front. And then the driver, once that stop's over, the driver's got to be sure not to kill the engine as they try to leave the pits. The problem, these cars have such a high gear ratio in the back, like a 3-to-1, that first gear's not enough. You've got to really play with the clutch to get the car out of the pits. Track position on a racetrack that uses the restrictor plate is so doggone important.
All right, if we assume that somebody was able to pick all the right information out of Benny's book and go on and win it, and if it's one of the right 5 guys, it's an extra $1 million today. Ray Dunlap has all the details on the No Bull 5.
The winner of this year's Daytona 500 will take home a record purse of over $1 million. But there are 5 drivers in this field who could double their cash. That's because of the No Bull 5 program. The top 5 finishers from last October's Talladega race are eligible. They include Terry and Bobby Labonte, who both start on the front row of today's race. Ernie Irvin and John Andretti, who have top 20 starting positions, and the 5th driver is Kenny Schrader. Now, Schrader had a good car, but crashed it in the twin 125s and will go to a backup car, which will start him at the tail of the field. Now, had this program been in effect over the last couple of years, Winston would have paid out quite a bit of money. Last year, Jeff Gordon would have won the No Bull 5 after winning the Coca-Cola 600. In 1996, Dale Jarrett would have taken home the cash. There were no winners in 1995, but look at 1994. 3 drivers would have won the bonus: Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt. Benny and Dave, a lot of money could be on the line today here for the 500.
Well, yes, indeed. And if a driver wins today, a fan out there is also going to win $1 million. By the way, Schrader will have company in the back. Park, Rudd, Waltrip, Irwin, Schrader, Grissom, and Craven, all in backup cars after the 125 wrecks. Will the No Bull 5 affect the way those 5 guys run the race today?
Yes, it will, because there's been so much discussion about it. All winter, they've thought about winning this extra $1 million, and it will be in their mind today.
It is the biggest race of the year. It's certainly not the only race of the year. We got 31 more of them, including next week in Rockingham. Yeah, we'll be there on the air at noon Eastern Time with the 2nd edition of NASCAR Today. Jeff Gordon, by the way, is the defending champion. We'll take a break and be right back. Stay with us for more live from Daytona International Speedway. We're back at Daytona International Speedway. That is the weirdest looking member of any pit crew on pit road for the big 40th running of the 500. The big story here, of course, has got to be the transition to the Taurus. The T-Bird is pretty much history. A lot of T's in there. If we don't see a miracle today by Chad Little, Robert Presley, or Billy Standridge, who are driving the Bird, 184 will be the total number of T-Bird wins, and everybody will be in a Taurus. As we move on through the rest of the season, let's find out more about templates and the key to the Taurus as we go to Ray's Garage.
The switch from racing the old Ford Thunderbird to this brand new Taurus has been a monumental task during the off-season for all the race teams. We know that NASCAR regulates a lot of heights on these cars and uses templates to ensure uniformity. So the big question is, what's different between the T-Bird and the Taurus? We can see that the roof height remains at 51 inches. The rear quarter panels must measure 36 on the right and 35 high on the left. But the most notable difference is up front in the nose height. We've taken the 1998 Taurus template and set it on one of Ricky Rudd's old Thunderbirds. You can see how the roof line in the front window is really very similar, but a big difference is shown down here at the front of the nose. 2.5 inches is the differential, as the Thunderbird is lower than the new Taurus. Now, this is a big disadvantage at places like Daytona and Talladega, because this higher nose is actually pushing more air, which creates drag. It may be an advantage later in the season, though, because this higher nose will create downforce, and that's good at the intermediate tracks. Now, some teams have taken their old Ford Thunderbirds and just put a new body on it. Many of the teams have built entirely new race cars for this Taurus renaissance. A lot of money has gone into this program. Just for a body alone, you can put up to $20,000 in each car. And many of the teams have hung 5 or 6 different bodies trying to find a little bit of a speed advantage for Daytona. The question is it really worth it? Well, certainly. Last year at the Brickyard 400, Ricky Rudd won $571,000 for going to victory lane. And this year, the Daytona 500 purse is over $6 million.
Bottom line, Benny, those templates are kind of controlling the fate of the Taurus drivers.
Exactly. We saw just how much higher the template is on the Taurus. That's what they're trying to fight, trying to get that nose down out of the air.
The guy who has made the switch from Ford to Chevrolet in terms of crew chief, probably the spotlight focuses on him more than any other crew chief. That would be Larry McReynolds, and he's with Bill Weber.
Well, earlier in the hour, we talked about how Dale Earnhardt is probably the biggest story here at Daytona. And Larry McReynolds, that story got even bigger after happy hour when you guys broke something in the engine. Run us through that, and you have changed engines.
Yeah, well, you know, we put our race engine in, and we was going to run it Friday afternoon. And, of course, we lost that practice to weather. So we went out yesterday afternoon. Everything looked good. But when he got up to speed and got the car under load, it was on 7 cylinders. And what we found, it broke a push rod. Now, they put another push rod in it and checked everything out, and everything looked good. And we went on and run the entire practice and run pretty good, but that's the reason you bring spare engines. There's a reason that push rod broke. Not sure of it. It could have just been a crack in it, but rather than take a chance here, especially at the Daytona 500, just put that #1 backup engine in, which is just as good as the race motor.
Okay, that was a bad break yesterday, but it might have been good luck for today, Dave.
All right, guys, thank you. One of the fun things about a 50th anniversary is recalling all the great memories, and I have one. Well, I wasn't here personally, but I love this race. It wasn't the first Daytona 500. It was the second. 1960, 38 years ago. Big crowd proving Big Bill France was on to something with his super speedway stuff, and history recalls. Wasn't there a blue number 43? Yeah, there it is. First race for Richard Petty, son of the 59 winner, would go on and win the big race a record 7 times. Pontiac ganged up on Chevy late in the race. Jack Smith helped Bobby Johns draft into the lead, but on the last lap, Johns lost it coming off turn 2. He goes spinning down the backstretch and destroys Pontiac's hopes for the big win. Junior Johnson inherited the victory in what he would call a Chevrolet. That was the only Daytona 500 victory for the pride of Ingle Hollow, North Carolina. But as they say, there's more to the story.
Jack Smith told me that Bobby Johns was exhausted at the end of that race. Coming off 2 on the last lap, he rolled the window down to get a breath of fresh air. The wind comes in, blows out the rear window. That's why he spun out.
And there he goes. And here we go to commercial. We'll be back with more live from Daytona. Want to remind you, RPM tonight at 9:30 Eastern Time. Complete wrap-up on the 500 weekend. Back at Daytona, take a look at more of your starting lineup. Andy Hillenberg, 18th starting spot, terrific. Kevin LePage, 20th. Wow. No Kenny Wallace, but Mike made it in 23rd. Top rookie is Nadeau, 26th. There's Gordon in 29th spot. Looking further back, 31st starting spot for Kenny Schrader. Remember, he crashed the 3rd fastest time trial car, and we'll go to the back. Rookie Steve Park starting 33rd. Last guy in on time is Billy Standridge. The last 7 starters are all provisionals. Let's head out to the racetrack and hear from one of those guys who had to take a provisional, Ricky Rudd.
Well, Ricky Rudd lost a car in the twin 125s, but you think this backup car might be better?
Well, Bill, it is better. There's no doubt about it. It's a lot better race car, but the trouble is we're in the back. Of course, there's a lot of good cars back here. We just hope we can miss all the wrecks. That's what got us in the 125 the other day. Starting back in that race, you had a lot of guys under the gun to kind of drive in over the head a little bit to get into the 500. That bit us. Today, we're at the back. There's a lot of good race cars. We just hope we can get to the front in one piece.
He's one guy that speed weeks all the time down here. It could pay off with a good finish.
One thing we have not seen this year is a lot of ride buying. Everybody who qualifies is going to be in the show. Billy Standridge turned down a bunch of money. What's that story?
Well, I don't know. No money was ever mentioned, but some teams did approach him about putting a sponsor on the car, but the driver had to go in the car. Billy Standridge said, if I want to make money, I'll go back to Shelby, North Carolina and work at that junkyard. I'm here to run the Daytona 500. Get away from me.
Good for you, Billy. We're going to take a commercial break and be back with more. We're getting close to the start of the big race at Daytona. 40th 500 coming up. Stay with us.
NASCAR Today is brought to you by Mobil 1 Synthetic Motor Oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
Bill Elliott has had decent success at Daytona over the years. He starts 19th, but he's been kind of outshone here by the rookie who is his teammate, starting in 26th spot, top rookie in the field, Jerry Nadeau. Remember the name. I think you're going to hear a lot more about him. Let's hear from him right now.
Well, Jerry Nadeau, you've been very impressive here during Speed Weeks. Now, the morning of the Daytona 500, how do you feel?
I'm ready to go. I mean, this is such an exciting time. I think what's more exciting is I got Dan Marino throwing the flag. He's actually got a radio on up there, and he's going to let me go a little bit ahead. But I'm excited. I mean, this whole deal, First Plus, the new Taurus car, the whole team, they worked their butts off this winter, and here we are at Daytona.
Nervous?
A little bit of butterflies, but I'm actually more calm in that race car than I am right now.
Okay, he's hoping that car number is lucky 13.
Nadeau, Hillenberg, Wallace, a lot of real human interest stories in this field, Benny.
Andy Hillenberg said, I would not take $1 million for the chance to run the Daytona 500.
Let's get a thought here from Ray Dunlap. We're getting close to the end of the half hour. Ray, what's up out there?
Kenny Schrader took a pretty hard lick Thursday afternoon, the twin 125s. You got a backup car. Is that one pretty good?
It's a real good car. It's a car that qualified us for the Winston No Bull 5 program. It's a car that we ran in the Bud Shootout. It's a good car.
I figure Andy Petrie must be going to page you in the race today because you're carrying your pager here with you. That way you'll know what to do.
I got a lot of accessories on today to make it through this deal, but I think we'll be fine.
Okay, good luck out there. Kenny Schrader, starting with a backup car. He'll come from the tail of the field.
He's a very frustrated guy because of the way things have gone here. That was a very good race car that he bounced off the wall on Tuesday, so it's going to be tough for him. What does it mean for a guy like Schrader to win the Daytona 500? Well, it is the dream of a lifetime, and it is also the subject of this week's edition of Track Talk.
Just right, guys. Just right. Half a pound on the left side. Go, 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 go.
Well, it's meant a lot in the past, and it still does just as much in the future. But I think now to win any race is important, but to win Daytona, you work so hard all through the winter to come down here and run good, and it's a great race to win.
It was great in '86. I mean, it was like, back then it just fulfilled my dream, my goal of being here at Daytona, of winning at Daytona, racing against my heroes and beating them. It really fulfilled that dream, and I'm sure glad I won it in '86. But I'd like to win it today because of the marketing power that NASCAR has in the whole world.
It would definitely take my career as a young driver to the top. You know, put you in that elite group that in a different situation, whole different group of people, because not a lot of people want a Daytona 500, but the biggest thing I'm after that first win, and to win the Daytona 500 for the first win would be awesome for me. I know that.
Well, Daytona 500 is everything I've done about everything else. I haven't won a Daytona race, and I'd like to win the 500. That'd be real exciting to win the Daytona 500. That's all I can tell you.
I'm doing some math here, thinking about Bodine. It's $1 million for the purse, $1 million for the no bull. Thinking, what did it pay when you won it?
$41,000.
$41,000, and you got less than all of that. Did it change your life, though? I mean, obviously, Bodine's right. The money today is huge, but how does it affect your life?
It changed my entire life, Dave, because, you know, I was really doubting my abilities. But I won the Daytona 500. I never looked back. I said, okay, I can drive a race car. I proved it in February. And there's no doubt that Friday night when I was introduced as one of the 50 best NASCAR drivers, winning the Daytona 500 was a big part of that.
When we fast forward, and I won't say how many years, to this year, and we think about what this race means in the context of this anniversary season, all the media that's going to follow this deal, I can't imagine what it's going to be like for the guy who wins this race.
No, I really can't either. But there's going to be so much attention, and for the next 2 weeks, he will be besieged by folks like us wanting to talk to him. About what it's like to win the Daytona 500, NASCAR's 50th anniversary. NASCAR's going to make this 50th anniversary a big deal.
I think that's fair to say. Let's get a quick final thought from Bill and Ray on pit road.
143,000 fans in the stands. It's patience, pit stops, and performance that make the difference today, Ray.
Well, Bill, there's a lot of rookies in this race, but no one has made more changes to their car than the 28. Kenny Irwin, keep your eye on him. He's got a long way to go, but he might make it to the front.
I got about 15 seconds here, big guy, if there's anything in your mind, and maybe even that prediction I always try to get out of you.
You know, I have picked winners before. I will not do that again because there's too many people that listen to this and say, how come you didn't pick me? So I hope all of you win.
I think Earnhardt's due. I think it's time. I agree with the 36% of people who did it on their computer and said I think it's Earnhardt's turn to win.